Alright, hello guys, and welcome to something that some of you have been very much looking forward to, and that is a 2000, well, I mean, already just like high Enrage solo Zami guide. We're going to go over some very important things in this, things to look out for and stuff, to make it very, very easy, because I've been doing this quite a lot recently, and I've got some very quick kills compared to most people, and very consistent as well. And yeah, we're going to go through that today. I'm going to assume you already have prior knowledge of Zami, so I'm not going to go into too many specifics in terms of like gear setups and stuff. Just take whatever you need, I guess. But it's more so like a spec order and like how to deal with some mechanics in order to benefit you later on in the fight. So yeah, P1, you can just like devotion that melee hit. Maybe also you could have like disruption shielded too. It doesn't really matter. But the idea here is that we're trying to get Zami to around like 50k or less from phasing. I think it phases at 1344 HP at this Enrage. So I want to get him down to pretty low is the idea. And that will let us just phase him early for next phase, which means he'll have more autos before he starts doing specs. Because basically, the earlier you phase him in a spec cycle, I suppose I should say, the more quickly you phase him after he's just used a spec, means that he'll take longer to spec in the next phase. So we'll be smashing him down there. And very important here, we do a Magma Tempest and a Corruption just as we go in. Unfortunately, there I actually it didn't go off, but essentially, if you Magma Tempest and then Corruption or Combust as you go into the Witch, those little hits will keep hitting Zami, and every time Zami gets a hit on him, it negates that. You see that healing he's doing? It actually negates that. So the idea is that you Magma him and bleed him, so you're always hitting him, at least for a few seconds anyway, which really stalls his healing quite a lot. A lot of people don't do this, and it makes the world of difference. It's actually crazy. So definitely get into the habit of doing a Magma and a Corruption just before you go in. Very, very, very good indeed. And yeah, that was usual Sunshine FSOA stuff. Also EOF, we have a Zamorak staff, not a Gothic staff, a Zamorak staff. Very, very strong here. Because it drains his magic power, makes him splash more, makes him do less damage. It's really, really good. Oh, that smoke was not good, was it? And the other one is an Armored or Battle Staff. You want to be on a Calgarian Demon, trust me. Cal Demon is so much better, makes this strat a lot more consistent. But yeah, but do bring a Hellhound switch for P7 if the runes go badly, because you sometimes will want that extra bit of tankiness. I just speed up the fight here ever so slightly, 1.25 times speed. So just like taken from a Twitch VOD. So yeah, yeah. Essentially, here we're looking to phase it after the Adrenaline Cage special, which is why I'm not sunshining or anything. Sometimes you have to sunshine, but there's the Adrenaline Cage, just do a cheeky debilitate or something on it. Then we want to phase it as soon as possible after this. And then we'll do the Magma and Corruption thing again as we go in. And look at its HP bar at the top. It's like stuck on 150. You see that? That's because of those bleeds that we're doing. And you always want to save Omni Power for the Witch if you can. And ideally Volnit as well. Because the quicker you kill this, the less chance the boss has to heal. So like every second saved on the Witch is look at that. It's like 7,000 extra damage that I don't have to do. Because look at that. See, it's healing like 4k per tick at this point. It's a bit rough. And then here, yeah, we surge out here, do the Sunshine by the Protector, because that one definitely has to go. I'll have a melee hit soon, and then we'll deal with that, just like Devotion or something. Note here being, you can res the smoke, as long as Twin Shot is not active. There we go, so if you res at the last tick there, you can res even on the red HP where he attacks faster. But otherwise you have to have Devotion if you do have Twin Shot active, which is pad 1. But yeah, this is like sometimes like the scary bit here. Like this particular like set of specs, because this is the part where we have to do a lot of damage. Because Soon there's going to be another adrenaline cage, and you see that bar up there? We need to get that all the way down to the next phase. So this is very much a time to sunshine Adrenpot, Tsunami, FSOA, everything. It's quite hard to do without, so I would recommend doing that. But luckily FSOA does usually carry. I mean, it always gets there in time. Like, I've never had a problem. There we go. So that's phased. Magma and Corruption again. Look at that. And then his healing should be stopped a little bit. Big Omni Power on the Witch. And then we're on to the next thing, which is pad 1. The order that we're doing, by the way, is 2, 4, 3, 1, 6, 5. It very much makes big use of the pad 6 damage buff. And so next up we have the DPS check, which a good strat here that I found is when it activates, you want to Omni Power and then Tendrils, ideally under FSOA spec. Mine's barely coming off cooldown here, so I've just Tendrils here, and that lets you do a Resonance and a Reflect and a Disruption Shield. And the important thing here is don't use your Vit Pot, because you'll want that for the next phase. Like, if you know it's going to go badly, then feel free to Vit Pot. That's fine. You can make do. But I try and save it here just so I can benefit more on the next phase. So otherwise it's on cooldown. And then here's another time where we're trying to phase it just after the adrenaline cage. So there's the cage, and then yeah, this check can be a bit tight as well. But you really want to get him down. It's 576k HP here. You want to get him down before the spec after this, otherwise very bad things happen. But yeah, essentially if it ends those phases on the adrenaline cage, it'll start the next phase with the DPS check. And that's one way to make the red HP, which is always very scary because he attacks faster. It makes the red HP much cleaner. To kill the witch as soon as possible. Obviously he's nearly 300k at this point, which is a little bit rough. But oh, and that's a missed Brave Flick here. Don't do that. That's gonna screw me a bit, isn't it? Yeah, we're gonna have another DPS check here in a second. Sometimes it's very fast, considering. Oh, that's sorry. Depending on how early you phased after the cage last time. So again, Omni Power and Tendrils, ideally, and then this time we're going to Vit Pot. So Disruption Shield, Resonance, Reflect, and Vit Pot, because that one hits a bit more. Reset your aura mid-fight, apparently, because why not? But yeah, definitely don't forget to Blood Barrage during FSOA specs. You get a lot of extra healing from that. So that's always good. Make sure we're dodging the smoke. Get another Sunshine up. We've got a melee hit coming soon, and in an ideal world, we would phase after the melee and before the next DPS check, but that's really hard to do, and I'm not finding it very consistent right now. I've done it a couple of times, and it's incredibly useful, but unfortunately, not really that consistent. So we'll just be sort of chilling, I guess. We still want to get him low HP, but we want to make sure we phase him after this instead. But yeah. Ideally he's already dead, but this is still fine. This one, we'll just like whittle him down, get him very low towards phase HP, and then Immortality. So that saves you from the big kaboom when he explodes like that. And then we'll just quickly phase him before he does the rune spec. Like, that's the big circle, basically. We do not want the big circle here. Big circle, very bad. Because that means that well, first of all, you're not allowed to teleport into the witch. And second of all, it'll start on a melee hit. Otherwise, and that's danger. That's big danger. In red HP, you do not want a melee hit first. Yeah, that should be fine though. Like, this is what happens on most of my kills. I get this spec, and it should be very achievable for anyone who's pushing high as well. And then yeah, just the usual FSOA, Tsunami FSOA. Make sure we Blood Barrage, and Debilitate there is very good as well. It's also good to stay near the runes, the edicts, because of the pad 3 buff. It makes you do more damage when you're near them. So you do get to get down the red HP a little bit faster. Just watch out for the melee here. We can devotion that one. And then here, this is the scary smoke. We need to make sure we reflect, debilitate, and ideally Disruption Shield and res as well if it's up. I think you need like res and like any one or two of those things, otherwise it'll be a bit painful. But yeah, make sure we're stacking shards at this point as well. Very important to stack shards. And Don't forget to also spam your Zami staffs just to drain his magic even more. Check on like Enfeeble or Stagger. Ideally have that in your borrowed power somewhere. And then yeah, just before we phase him, we want to make sure we use all our debuffs like Vuln, Smoke Cloud, Enfeeble, or Stagger. I use Enfeeble personally, but Stagger is also very, very good. And yeah, the idea is that we also go into the Demon, well, also into P7 on less than 60% HP, because that's where we'll really be abusing the buff. Unfortunately, this time I have more than 60% HP, so it's going to be a little bit rough. But basically, we attack the Demon, Auto Corruption, big Omni Power, and then I Combust, then I Wild Magic, then I res that second Auto from Zami there, then Conk Deep Breath, and ideally he dies there, but I didn't have the buff, so it took a bit longer. And we Sunshine there. Was I in range of it? I was barely. So if you Sunshine around there, you can get in range of multiple pillars. Oh, we've had a disaster, so the rune survived. Yeah, make sure we Tsunami F's away the first one, switch to Blood Barrage, grab the second one, surge back up, Devotion, then Tendrils at the beginning. I summoned a Hellhound here because that first pillar didn't die quickly, so it was a bit scary. Then make sure we only Omni Power and Shatter after you get hit by the big bomb, because that's where the big damage comes from. Like the 60% HP buff is enormous. And look at that, we got him down to 60k. It was pretty free. Yeah, let's just rewind that and watch it again, I think. So yeah, kill the second rune. Devotion. Surge up, do a big Tendrils. And then, yeah, Disruption Shield, Debilitate Vidpot. Then Omni Power and Shatter, and just whatever else you have left, Wild Magic. But then if you get a bit low, just press Reflect, that will save you. And then it's Divert into Immortality in order to get 100% Adren. You can, if you mess this up, you can Ring of Death here and just take the proc. That is completely fine too. Nice little backup save if you need it, which is super useful. It saved me a couple of times so far actually. And then yeah, just kill the demon, because that guy can be a bit of a pain otherwise. And then it should be pretty free. So if the boss has loads of HP, like 130k plus or something, you're going to want to stack like a bunch of shards, like 5 shards or something. But if he's like any less than that, like it's so free with this pad order. Like for example, I've done 133k damage on Zami. Without overloads, because I forgot to use them. So essentially just lower your runes, just remember which ones were which. Lower all the runes, like so. I like to leave it on like, 6k or something is fine, 5k, somewhere around there. Make sure we Vuln and Smoke Cloud. And then here, I'm going to slow it down because it's going too fast. Yeah, we Natural Instinct, Tsunami, FSOA spec, switch to Smoke Barrage here, because the autos travel through the air faster on Barrage. And also Smoke Barrage has a nice effect where it can make him splash. So if something goes wrong, it's quite nice. Then we run down and use Meta. And then a Corruption and Sonic Wave, because that takes a while to travel. Then back on Zami with the Surge. Then Omni Power, Tendrils, Wild Magic. And that's about it, really. And there he is, look at that, so much damage, didn't even get a chance to attack there. Yeah, very, very easy to do 100k with the extra 30% damage you get from pad 6. It is kind of crazy. And then ideally, if all goes well, you will have succeeded in your kill. And it'll be, fairly speedy. At least for solo anyway, fairly speedy. And ideally, your character will be surrounded by lovely green sparkles. A little bit like this. So the question is, what's it going to be? Oh, I don't know. It could be anything. It could be a codex. It could be a vest piece. It could be a bow piece. What's it going to be? Ooh, it's a bow piece. Oh my goodness. Wow, he's crazy with it. But yeah, I think that's basically about it for the talk through. Hopefully that will make sense. Just very important you keep to these spec orders. Because that will make your time so much easier, like so much easier. But yeah, I hope I didn't miss anything. If I did, then unlucky, I guess. But yeah, hopefully this helps people get some kills. But yeah, definitely a recommended spec order. Like, even for group, this is a good spec order as well, to be honest. But group, it's just it's a lot easier to do the group thing. Like get like the damage check on that phase 5, you know. Where I mentioned, like, ideally you want to phase it before the DPS check. At the end of P5. Much easier to do that in group. It's very consistent in group. But yeah, that's kind of like the only difference really, is that part's easier. Everything else should be exactly the same. For very safe, very fast strats. And yeah, I'd recommend giving it a go. So yeah, again, most important things, Magma Tempest and Corruption as you go into the Witch. Vuln it, Omnipower it, kill it fast. And yeah, get out as soon as possible, bleed him again. And then, yeah, I don't know. Just survive, do the damage, phase at the right times with the specs, and yeah, hopefully this is useful. And yeah, praise pad 6, because this 30% damage buff, very good in P7. It makes it so free. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully it'll help you guys get some kills and give you a small insight into high Enrage Zami. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.